Hey, you guys, welcome to Alex and Andy Live. We're coming to you from Shanghai and Puxi on the 40th floor. We're going to give you a quick update on all of the current situation regarding Shanghai's phased lockdown.
Tonight, March 31st, this Thursday night, is the final night for Puxi to be out of lockdown. Puxi will enter lockdown tonight or in the early morning hour of 3 a.m. On April the 1st. So that would be about 8 hours from now.
Right, so everyone's getting ready. If you want to have a quick look at the map, because it is a bit of a confusing situation with half of the city locked down. On the map, you can see the green part, which is Pudong, currently locked down until tomorrow morning. The rest, the blue part, will be locked down tomorrow morning for 4 days until April 5th.
Until April 5th at 3 a.m. So the plan is currently for Pudong to come out of lockdown at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning on April the 1st. Compounds with positive cases will likely continue to be locked down in Pudong, however.
Right, now let's have a quick look at the live view of Shanghai. It is a beautiful city, I'm sure you can agree. We're looking out across to Pudong, to Lujiazui, and we are obviously filming from Puxi. So yeah, that's that.
Our camera's facing east. Now, usually you can see the buildings, the tall skyscrapers in the Pudong Lujiazui financial hub, although right now we've got a little bit of fog or clouds or whatever that is. And so you can't quite see them so clearly tonight, not the clearest of nights here in the city. But you know, the weather's nice, at least. A little bit of drizzle, but it's all right.
Still a beautiful sight to behold. Right, now we're going to catch up with one of our workmates, Emma, who is a British national who found out late last week that she had tested positive for COVID. Emma, can you hear me? Emma, can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Emma?
No, there's a small problem there, so we don't have Emma. Actually, let's...
Oh, we had it! We got to call her back.
Emma, I'm calling you back if you're watching.
All right, anyway. So, yeah, we'll wait for Emma to get back on the line. But so the situation right now is that Puxi will be in lockdown in about 8 hours time, just under 8 hours at 3 a.m. So make sure if you're a night owl that you're back at home by that time. All right, maybe we have Emma back now.
Can you hear me now, Emma?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Awesome. So you've had COVID now for a few days. How are you feeling on that front? Oh, we've got a problem again. You guys, this is live TV, well, live broadcast, as it were. Emma, can you hear me?
We really want to hear Emma's story. She's got...
We'll figure that out and we'll come back. What I'll do is I'll try to give her a call on the phone. So we'll move along. Actually, first I will mention a few of the important numbers. Okay. So actually some good news, really good news actually. The numbers in Shanghai today yesterday for new COVID cases have gone down slightly. So today, the new numbers for yesterday, the 30th of March, were 355 new symptomatic cases and 5,298 asymptomatic cases. Now, you might remember the day before, it was nearly 6,000 in total. So we're down by a few hundred.
We're down by a couple hundred. Yesterday, it was over 5,900, whereas today we're down about 300 from yesterday. And that's a small number, especially compared to the total. But if you look at the map, or if you look at the graph, it had been continuously rising over the past couple of weeks. And so to see a dip, even however slight that dip may be, is encouraging.
It is very encouraging. And I think I have Emma on the line now. Emma, can you hear me this time?
Hello? Hi, guys.
Much better.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
So, Emma, I was just asking, because you've had COVID now for a few days. So we're really curious to know how you're doing on that front.
Yeah, no, thank you. My symptoms have been relatively mild. I'm a little bit weak. I've got a sore throat, headache, a bit of a cough, but you know, I'm getting better every day. I'm physically and mentally exhausted more than anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you mentioned that you couldn't get a lot of sleep when you were at the large quarantine facility near the World Expo. Have you managed to get a little bit better rest over the last few days?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I slept better. I'm trying to rest. I'm drinking lots of water, and I'm taking vitamins.
Oh, nice. And as you mentioned last time we chatted, you had been moved to a different medical facility. I know on the first night you were in the World Expo site, and there was some confusion on our last broadcast. So can you clarify that a bit for our viewers?
Yeah, thank you. So currently I'm at a place called Jiahe Xinyan. It's a facility with about 1,500 people, and it's split into a few buildings. And where I am has got about 600 people. Our rooms are dividing into four. I'm sharing with 3 other people. And similar to other facilities, we get things like daily temperature checks, COVID testing twice a week, and we get 3 meals a day. The staff are just doing everything that they can to take care of us.
Well, it's good to hear that you're being well taken care of, and it's good to hear you sound great. You sound upbeat, and it's really good to hear that. Just to clarify, so you're not in Ruijin Hospital. I know maybe there was a little bit of a confusion last time. So you're not currently in Ruijin Hospital. You're at the different place. What was the name once more?
Not Ruijin Hospital. Ruijin provides the medical support, but it's not the same venue. I'm at a central treatment site. It's not a hospital or hotel.
Gotcha.
It's the same type of facility as the Expo. Unlike other sites around the city, it's got these sort of self-contained shared dorms. I've heard some rumours being spread online by someone claiming to be my friend. They've said I've gone to Ruijin Hospital. I haven't. I don't know who this person is, and I'm guessing they've just kind of screenshotted stuff off of my Twitter feed. But no, I am not at Ruijin Hospital.
Awesome. Well, that's the internet for you. Emma, I know you told us the other night the reason why you left the World Expo site, but for some people who maybe weren't tuned in the other night when we had a chat with you, can you tell us again why you were moved?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know the specifics behind the move. I just know what I've been told. But as my readers know, I live with anxiety and anorexia. And when I checked into the first centre, they asked about any existing conditions. I told them about my mental health issues and also the medication that I'm taking. They asked if I needed anything, and I just asked for whatever support that they could offer. My husband actually got COVID before me, and he'd been at Jiahe for a few days. And before I even left my initial quarantine hotel, I reviewed that. When I got to the expo, I was one of the first people to arrive, and I think at the time everything was just so new, and there wasn't much access to any English support. And as you guys know, my Chinese language isn't strong, and that just makes everything that bit harder to manage. And then, on the second day, someone came over to my bed and they told me to pack my bags because I was being moved, and it just happened really quickly. And since then I've been told that my mental health conditions plus the overall situation that I was in, were behind that move. I've since learned that has been reunited for various reasons, and there was actually another lady also moved from the expo site on the same day as me. Before we move on, and just while we're talking about mental health, I'm really glad that the concerns are being taken seriously. I heard of someone just today at another facility who was moved. They were having panic attacks. There's nothing easy about what anybody is going through right now, and I get that people are afraid to talk about their mental health. And living with a mental illness on top of what is already a very challenging experience, it needs to be taken into consideration and supported wherever possible. And I mean, you both know that I talk openly as I live with anxiety and anorexia.
Connection.
Other people can, and that has serious physical implications.
Yeah, I know, Emma. You did break up a little bit there, but you were talking about how you talk openly about your mental health. I know your column, the Oyster Pail, in your column you also discuss this, and I commend you, as well as I'm sure many others do, for speaking openly, being brave, and talking about it. And kind of try to give other people the bravery to not just come to terms, but also to be open and honest and seek help if they need to. And so I really appreciate your honesty and your candor about that. I did want to ask you one more question, though.
Yeah, Alex, it's not just honest and candor, it's something else that we need to take into consideration. So, for example, with the anorexia, you know, for example, I'm being brought 3 meals a day, but because of my mental health, I'm not able to fuel myself in the way that other people can. So that has very serious physical implications.
True.
So when we're talking about mental health, we're not just talking about feeling sad or feeling stressed. We're talking about serious issues that have real consequences. And I know that a lot of people are struggling at the moment. You know, I've heard from people personally today, and I also spotted on Shine, you know, only just before, you know, we came live, some comments from readers kind of, you know, echoing this kind of need. There is support, and I know that mental health resources around Shanghai are doing everything that they can for the community. You know, and perhaps between us, we can get the details of some local resources for people that are in need. So, you know, let's look at that together after the show.
For sure.
Really good idea. Emma, one last question though. Before you mentioned about COVID testing, and I know you need to post two negative results before you can leave. Have you been tested again yet?
Yes. So I've had one test so far, and that was yesterday.
Okay.
I'm waiting for that result, and then I'll have another test on Saturday. If we get 2 negative results, I'm told that we can go home for 7 days, home quarantine and monitoring. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for everybody, and you know, my thoughts are across the entire community and all of those that are supporting it.
Awesome. Emma, thank you again so much. We really look forward to seeing you again, and we will talk to you again in another couple of days, hopefully, but I think tomorrow you should have a day off.
All right.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Emma.
you, Emma. Get well soon. Hope to see you soon.
Oh, that was really interesting. So I'm surprised she's had a test already, which is it's moving pretty fast. Now, like I said the other day, Emma is actually the first person I've known in China with COVID-19. So this is all new for me, finding out about all this information. I had no idea how long it takes to heal from that. So we wish Emma all the best.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, if you've just tuned in, we're coming to you live from Shanghai. We're on the 40th floor. Look at our amazing view.
Yeah, I don't like to brag about it, but we do have a great view from up here. Although, as I was mentioning earlier, it is a bit rainy today, a little bit of drizzle, a little bit of cloudiness. And so we're unable to clearly see the skyline, the Pudong Lockdown skyline view, but it's still nice. Of course, as we've been mentioning over the last few days, if you look at the road on the right side of your screen, that's Yan'an Elevated Road, which is normally one of the busiest roads, one of the most jam-packed roads in the city. And right now at 7:17 p.m., on a Thursday evening, normally that road would be jam-packed with cars, but quite the opposite is true right now.
Right. Actually, a friend of mine said today that the feeling in Shanghai today is a bit like Chunjie, like people are rushing home to buy food to get ready for the new year. So, I mean, you can also look at this whole lockdown situation as a time to, you know, get close with your family again.
It is. It's true.
You
know, of course, you mentioned the analogy to the Spring Festival. It's true. Shanghai is a city that more people leave than enter during the Spring Festival. So it does have a little bit of that feeling, obviously with not quite as happy of a twist, a little bit more of a somber situation. Right. But at the same time, yeah, you're right. It is a good opportunity. You know, Puxi will be locked down. Many of our friends around the city are locked down right now. And despite it being a less than ideal situation, you know, maybe we can use this time to connect with family or friends that we haven't talked to in a while. I know I used this time to connect with some family members and some friends back from my home country who I haven't talked to in a long time. So despite the fact that it's not the best of situations, but it's important that we do it. And we can use that time maybe constructively or if we can.
Exactly. I'm going to be reading a few books, like I said the other night.
Yep.
But now we are going to check in with one of our fabulous workmates, Song. I hope she's ready. She looks ready. I'll wait a couple of minutes. She's running around crazily. She's going to talk to us about... Oh, can you hear us, Song?
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
What have you been up to? How have you been getting ready for the lockdowns?
Sorry?
How have you been preparing for the lockdown?
I think I'm all ready, bro.
I heard you got a lot of yummy food.
One sec. I'm just gonna show you my fridge, okay? Because, you know, I'm originally from Wuhan, so I've been doing this like 2 years ago.
You're used to it.
See?
We can't see it yet. Hold on. There you go. Oh yeah, we got it. Okay, so you're full up.
Veggies and just some daily supplies for my life and alcohol, of course. And this one, 10 out of 10, not recommended. Like the pastry is just so thick and the fillings is not sweet enough. I don't really like it. Yeah.
Hey,
think
Song,
I'm
I need to
good.
ask you, because I remember when I went with you to Wuhan, you forced me to eat so much xiaolongxia. Do you have xiaolongxia?
What?
Do you have xiaolongxia in there?
No. It's not the season.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay, it's not in
come
season. It's not
on.
the season. Xiaolongxia is a
After
summer
the
food.
COVID
Okay, I don't eat it.
situation, you guys
You don't
can
eat
all
it?
come to Wuhan with me.
Oh,
You know what? At first opportunity, I am completely ready for that. Whenever we can get the COVID numbers back down, I would love to go to Wuhan. I've been there once, but it's been a number of years since I was there. So I'd love to go there. You can show me around a little bit. What's your favorite food in Wuhan? Just for the sake of chatting, what's your favorite food from Wuhan? Is it xiaolongxia?
Okay,
What
I
is
think I'm just. Don't mind me if I'm wearing a mask right now because I just moved in and my place is like so dusty right now.
That's all right.
So I'm just gonna give you a
I
quick
was-
tour of my new place.
Okay.
oh, it's
kind
huge.
of empty. It's empty because of the COVID situation. My furniture hasn't arrived yet, so I'm just gonna live with it. And my roommate is still under lockdown, so yes.
So it's all for you. So, Song, having a look at your house, I think it looks really fancy. I might need to, after this broadcast, go and ask for a pay rise. It looks like you're pulling in way more than that.
All right, let's take a look at my workout gadgets.
Oh yeah,
Smart
so working out.
bars. Because I really need to work out like 3 or 4 times a week, or I'm gonna.
Only 3 or 4 times?
And
Oh,
it's
Song,
been
do you have KTV at your house?
no, unfortunately no.
You're going to need to wait.
Because I don't really think that my place is that soundproof.
Oh,
Might be
you're a good-
noisy,
You're a good neighbor. So, Song, apart from eating a lot of tasty food and doing a lot of working out, do you have any other plans for the 4-day lockdown, like reading any books, or like what can people do if they're
Yes,
bored?
of course. I'm running a project called Niche Shanghai, and we are always on the road to explore the fun events and exhibitions and museums happening in Shanghai. But during this time, they are all shut down. So I feel like almost all the major museums and like galleries, they have online exhibitions.
Okay.
So can you check out the video?
Yeah, you have a video for that. Let's check out your video first, and then we'll come back and have a chat with you.
Let's check out a fancy video made by my teammates.
Woo!
刘建华，线条。大家好，我是 Cici 香叶静，欢迎来到上海明珠美馆从泥土到语言，以陶瓷为媒介展览。
Or you can have more detailed look of the whole exhibition. That's fabulous.
Well, I know that you're into art and you're in your niche Shanghai project. You take us to the museum.
I was talking all the time and I didn't hear you guys, girl.
Oh no, sorry, we couldn't hear you either. We got you back on now. So if you could tell us a little bit more about what we're seeing and about this online exhibition. I know that in your niche Shanghai project, you're always bringing us to different interesting art exhibits and museums. So just kind of give us a little bit of a rundown about what we're seeing here.
Just like what I said before, you guys can check out the official website or the WeChat official account.
All these places. So there's a lot of things to do online.
How do you guys feel about it?
I think it looks cool, but you know, for me, it would work because I find going to these kind of museums, because I don't understand art, so it's not that helpful.
So for me, I do enjoy a lot of your videos, and I actually have gone and visited a couple of places that you've shown us before, and I found them to be really enjoyable. But right now, obviously, we can't do that, and so I guess watching it online is the next best thing. And you know, if I see something that strikes my fancy online, then maybe later on, when it opens back up, I can go there in person. That's how I feel about it.
And I feel like after the COVID situation, you guys should film with me.
Oh, for sure.
All right, yeah.
And let's go do KTV after the lockdown's over.
Yes, of course. I really need that.
Yeah. Okay, Song, we will let you go. It's good to talk to you, and hopefully we'll catch up with you again during the lockdown.
Take care, guys.
All right, see you soon.
Well, that's really cool. So you can, obviously, as Song was saying, you can visit a lot of these art exhibitions online. So a number of Shanghai museums have set up online. You know, obviously you can look around, look at the pictures and enjoy that without heading down, because we will be, well, this half of Shanghai anyway, under lockdown. Obviously tomorrow morning, Pudong will open up if all goes to plan.
Right, if all goes to plan. Of course, remember that Pudong is planning on opening up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. It is very possible that if your compound or building has had a positive case, that they might not be ready to open up just yet. Hopefully, the majority of Pudong can open up, but it's too early to say at this point.
Right, now I just want to also point you guys to a very important new feature of our broadcast today. Not that side, that side. You can see down here, there is a QR code. If you have any questions, please use your phone with WeChat to scan that QR code down the bottom. And we have 2 experts waiting to answer any questions you have. Yesterday, we had a couple of questions that we couldn't answer straight away. So we have a team now who will answer any questions you have and try and get an answer to you that we'll let you know during this broadcast. So that is a really cool feature. We hope you'll use it. Again, scan this QR code and you'll enter a WeChat group where you can ask any questions you like.
Yeah, so one thing, one big question, and one thing that's been on everybody's mind is delivery workers, right? Not just package deliveries, food deliveries, and everything like that. Now, many delivery workers have the special permit that they don't have to be under lockdown, they can move around. Not all delivery workers, and so because of the high demand for deliveries, given that everyone in Pudong at the moment, but very soon to be Puxi, are at home and are in need of different deliveries. They're a bit stretched to the limit, but there are delivery workers available. And so we've been doing a little bit of research about that. Want to tell us a little more?
Well, I was thinking we could quickly watch an interview with a delivery guy.
Perfect.
And then when we come back, we'll have a chat with our reporter, Ding Yining. Let's have a look.
南浦区，还有附近的虹口就属于老市区，居民用户需求量大。那么从这块呢，主要重点针对于蔬菜、生鲜这一块重点增加。然后呢，就为了保证明天用户能够吃到新鲜的蔬菜，今天晚上大概在8、9点的时候开始到货，货量我们增加了1倍，就是为了应对明天一个需求。我们公司的话，从那个深圳和北京都调配了那个同事过来进行支援，现在增加到30、40号人。那么店内人员和骑手人员都在同步的增加。那么的话呢，主要是为了满足那个顾客下订单的时候，我们能够分拣出去。
Ding Yining, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear
we
me?
can.
Okay. Hi. How are you doing? How are you doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, wonderful.
Thanks for having
we wanted
me.
to talk about- yeah, great. We wanted to talk about your interview that you had with the delivery driver. So what was his state of mind? How was he doing? And what were his thoughts about the situation?
Actually, he was in charge of like 30 or 40 staff in the station. And normally the day starts quite early, like 6 or 6:30. So they handle these deliveries like really late into the midnight. Sometimes into the midnight. And as you can see, they go to one of the baskets. They pick up these packaged vegetables and fruits, and they put them in the plastic bag. So, and then they the delivery staff will be pick up again. So they will be delivered to the residential compounds later.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you recommend relying on food deliveries during the lockdown, or would you recommend people try their best to get supplies before the lockdown?
I would say it's better. Well, it depends on the situation, because as I understand, many of the lockdown has been going on for like more than 1 week or 2 weeks. So at that moment, you have no choice, but you have to, either to go to group buying, or the community. Some of the community, they will have organizations for that kind of stuff. But if you can still, go to physical stores, I would suggest that, it's better. And of course, you have to, better prepared and get sanitized and everything like that. So, but it's better. I would recommend you go to physical stores and see what you can get. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you can, so that the delivery guys, they can, they go to serve these lockdown people.
Yeah,
better.
I know that they're really stretched right now. Because some delivery people are locked down and are unable to get out of their houses. And it's just
Sure.
a really tough time. We've got a limited number of delivery people serving a whole lot of people that are in lockdown, and we know that that's an issue. Yeah. So it's best if you still have time now, although it's getting to be a little bit late before the lockdown in Puxi begins, to get started. So what sorts of foods are the delivery people delivering? I know most restaurants are closed, so there's just like groceries, or what kind of things did the young man you talked to have?
You mean what they deliver to the shoppers?
Yes.
I think most are fresh fruit, vegetables, and sometimes drink water, cooking oils, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, just staple food, and sometimes snacks as well. But basically, mostly vegetables and cooking
healthy
stuff.
food, the necessities. Yeah.
What kind of precautions do the delivery drivers need to make? For example, do they need to take COVID tests every day, or what's the situation with that?
I think they have to take like every 2 days, but I'm not sure. I have it's a basic demand. I mean, for most, if you work in a canteen, if you work in the service industry, it's a basic demand.
requirement.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ding Ying. We look forward to seeing you again back in the office when all this is over.
Sure. Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Wow,
right.
I really feel like delivery guys, you can see on the video now, their job is tough. I don't think people realize how tough their job is.
Right, and under normal circumstances, if
It's
you really
tough.
think about it, it's already tough.
Right.
Not just the delivery people for grocery stores, but also your Ulama or your Meituan or whatever other online food delivery platform you like from your favorite restaurant. Right, we all use them sometimes.
Right.
And then also the package, the people who deliver packages to your house. If you think about it, they're zipping all around the city, usually on their electric bikes. And that's a tough enough job as it is, especially in the rain and the nasty weather sometimes. But particularly right now, during the lockdown, they are really stretched to the limit. And so sometimes the delivery times may be a little bit longer, but just know that they're working hard to get you the things that you need.
Right. I was going to say that as well. If you can, if your delivery is late, just try to refrain from getting mad because these guys are really up against it. But I was also going to say, perhaps the deliveries won't be as time pressured as they were before because there's going to be no other vehicles on the road.
That's
so
true.
It may be actually, I won't say it might be quicker because I don't want to put any pressure on those guys, but it's definitely a unique situation. So I wish those guys.
Yeah, I think there's a push and pull there, right?
Yeah.
And I think, not having as many cars, as much traffic on the road to zip in and out of is one thing. But the other thing, of course, is they're just really stretched to the limit with the sheer volume of deliveries they have versus the number of people available. It's just important to understand that, it's a trying time for us right now. And, we all know that, our favorite restaurant, for example, my favorite restaurants in Puxi are going to be closed starting at 3 a.m. Most of them are closed already. And so I can't get all the foods that I really want to have, but during the phased lockdown that our city is going through, we might have to
forego
a few things, maybe not everything. We can still try and be as comfortable as possible, but, I'm not going to be able to get my favorite pizza for the next week or so. And, that's fine, I guess.
Exactly. We do need to remember the situation we're in and just try to forego a few of those luxuries. I'm going to be making hot pot every day probably because it's one of the easiest things to do at home by yourself. It's a good way to get your vegetable intake. And actually this morning I received a box of vegetables from my residential community. So that was really good. And I was thinking, how am I going to get rid of them? I don't want to waste them. So I think I can put them in hot pot and good to go.
Get rid of them, eat them.
Eat them.
But no, so for me, I'm not really the healthiest of eaters. I do a lot of waimai and things like that.
Me too, don't worry.
Some pizza, some burgers, things like that. And that's, this might actually be an opportunity for me to actually eat some veggies over the next few days.
It's going to be a good.
Yeah, I probably won't lose a lot of weight, but I'll try.
I'm going to try my best. I have a lot of ice creams at home. I think one of the things.
That's not going to get. That's not going to.
Well, exactly. One of the things I was worried about was having my treat. So I went out days before to prepare. So I have too many ice creams at home, and I'm hoping I can not eat them, but eat them.
Right.
Anyway,
So I'm stocked up with vegetables, fortunately. So. Looking forward to being healthy for the next few days.
Let's try.
So you were saying about was it the Jiweihui or the residential committee or?
Yeah, actually, I can show you a video now because these are photos from this morning. I got a knock on the door about, I'm not going to say which time because I shouldn't have been in bed then. But the guy was like, go downstairs and get your vegetables. I was like, what vegetables? Anyway, it turns out our neighborhood committee has given each household one or two boxes of vegetables that you can see there. These are the pictures I took this morning. And there's a picture of the vegetables I got when I got home. So there's some cabbage, potato, some bok choy, Chinese bok choy. And here are some other photos that we've been supplied with today of other communities in Shanghai who have been given food packages by the government. So as you can see, a lot of awesome things there. They got meat in there one, which I didn't get. Luckily, I have a lot of it at home. This looks like more vegetables.
Yeah. So I have seen, I did ask several friends and several people online as well, did some surveying. And I found that a lot of people living in different districts around the city have been, it's different everywhere. And I'm sure there are some people that would like to have this. I'm not sure if everyone does. But I do know that a lot of different people in districts around the city have been able to get packages of food delivered. And we know it's tough sometimes, as we mentioned, the delivery drivers are stretched to the limit, the supermarket, the vegetable providers, as we discussed yesterday on the stream, are up in operation, but are being taxed at the moment, just in terms of the amount of work that they have to do in the supply. So, fortunately, we've got a lot of compounds and residential committees that are helping out with that effort as well.
Yeah, you can see a picture now on the screen actually of hundreds of food packages. They call it li he, but that's actually a bag getting ready to be li dai, getting ready to be delivered to the home. So it is a really nice touch, and it makes people feel safe. And I'm sure everyone will have enough. We're crossing our fingers. But anyway, now we're going to have a look at the hotel situation in Shanghai, because actually there are hotels still Would there still be people staying in hotels?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I'm not sure who would be. Maybe somebody who was in the hotel when the lockdown hit and now they're stuck there.
It could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose there might still be. I don't know. I'm not.
Well, let's have a look because we have a video that has been filed by one of our journalists.
Let's find out.
And then after that, we're going to have a quick chat with that journalist, Ruby. But first, let's check out the hotel situation. We'll go down to the Puli Hotel, which you said is quite a nice one.
It is a nice one. It's in downtown Jing'an district, if any of you are familiar with that area. But yes, so let's find out a little bit more about what's happening over there right now.
Let's take a look.
But we work very closely with the local authority to respect precisely all the precaution measures to the COVID situation and due to the lockdown that will start on tomorrow. So basically here, when the guests enter in the Puli, they have to follow the strict rules of the regulation by scanning the QR code here, and then after that, follow the process in the entrance. No one can come into the Puli without scanning the code. This is extremely important. We don't compromise. And for these guests, we have tailor-made a special room service menu for them. And we have a deep cleaning service standard in the hotel that we provide them for morning and the afternoon, on the daily basis. And we also have, for them, we organize some auto test, COVID test for them. We have, of course, the disinfection gel here. And then when the guests are checking here, they have to fill the form and to show the QR code also, right? A commitment later. Tomorrow morning, we will collaborate with the local authority to do a massive COVID test for the guests and for the staff. So COVID test will start tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Previously, we communicate with the guests with the guest later in the room. We call them to inform them that tomorrow we will call them to go downstairs, and we accompany the guests to go to the COVID test. So this is the way. This is the place when we will do the test tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, the test will stand here, right? And first the guests, and after that, the staff department by department. We want to avoid the mass, the crowd, so it will be department by department, and guests first. Because during the lockdown, all the restaurants for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they are closed. So we tailor-made a room service menu, especially for the guests during this lockdown. And the way how we deliver, we did it, everything is under the highest precaution measure here. Everything is covered. You see Vivi, she's wearing gloves here. And the way how we do that here, when we go to the rooms here, during the lockdown tomorrow, we are not allowed to go in the room. Hey, good afternoon.
Hello.
So the way how we do tomorrow is we just give the guest the room service table, and the guest, she has to take the table, but we are not allowed to come to the rooms, right? It's forbidden. And then the guests, they will call us back to clear the trolley later on.
I have been at the Puli Hotel for 1 week.
So why will you come to Shanghai?
I just for traveling, because I come from the Anhui province, and I want to choose a modern city, have a staycation because the pandemic we don't come to. I think sometimes little influence because the transportation and some park and some before the lockdown. I think you are free to go to everywhere you want to go, but with the lockdown, before you go out, you just check it online firstly, and to replan your place you want to go. And after the lockdown, so the restaurants of the hotel closed. and the spa and the swimming pool is also closed too. So I only to choose a standard room for reading, for some online work, and luckily the room service is still open.
Wow, that was really interesting to see, because I was saying just before, who would be in a hotel in Shanghai now? But obviously there are guests, and she's come all the way from Anhui for a staycation, which is really cool.
Well, I assume that when she came here, when she says she's been here for a week, I assume when she came here, she didn't anticipate that we would be hitting an uptick in COVID-19 cases here in Shanghai. So I'm imagining that it's not exactly the vacation that she was hoping for, but hopefully when this calms down, she'll be able to come back and have a proper tourist trip here in Shanghai, because of course, as we all know, there are lots of wonderful things to see here for people who don't live here full time.
Yeah, it sounded though like she's going to make the most of it in her cozy room there. She can enjoy the room service. Now, as we just saw in the video, they will have room service every day delivered in a safe manner. So that's going to be tasty. I do quite like hotel room service. Of course. But she did say though that the pool and the spa are closed, which kind of sucks.
It's not the best, but you know, thanks to the GM of the Puli Hotel, it is a really nice hotel, as you can see there.
Yeah.
You can see that they also, and of course, anyone who lives in Shanghai or in China at all is quite familiar with this. But the QR code scanning process for your health code and everything like that, just to make sure to curb the spread of COVID. As we all know, right now, going into just about anywhere, you need to have a green QR code, and that's in your phone as an app.
Right.
And so for those of you who live here are obviously very, very familiar with that by this point, as we've been doing it for more than 2 years. But for those of you who don't live in China, that's how they sort of monitor COVID-19 and can trace the spread of cases around the city of the country.
Exactly. Now, I just want to quickly mention, if you're watching live, do not hesitate to send us your comments and suggestions, whether that is on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or our WeChat channel. But also, you can scan the QR code down the bottom of the screen that you can see there under the Got a Question tag, and you can enter a WeChat group where we have 2 experts waiting to answer your questions. But for now, I do have a comment from Kevin James Im from New Zealand. He commented last night, actually. Okay. He says, hello, good evening. Virtual art museum sounds like a really good idea, as well as the QR code for questions. Thank you for watching, Kevin. If you do have a question, even though you are watching from New Zealand, don't hesitate to join that group and
What's the time difference between here and New Zealand?
5 hours. So
you're in New Zealand is 5 hours ahead?
In the future, so it's nearly 1 a.m.
Nearly 1 a.m.
in New Zealand now.
All right. Well, in Florida right now, it's 12 hours behind, so it'll be 7:45 in the morning.
Well, we just got a comment actually from your dad.
Yep,
I think,
who's in Florida. Hi, Dad. See how he's back watching me again. I appreciate that. And for all of my friends and family watching, hi, and to everybody else, of course.
Everybody else. So yeah, don't hesitate to send a question through. Now we're going to chat with Ruby, who is our reporter who did that hotel video just before. Ruby, can you hear us?
Yes. How are you, Andy? How are you, Alex?
Very
good. How are you? Ruby, where are you now? Are you in
Pudong?
You're in Puxi now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Puxi.
Okay, so you're getting ready for the lockdown to begin tonight?
Yeah. And fortunately, I got my work done this afternoon. So interviewing this hotel and see how the hotel to have series of measures to protect their guests during the lockdown period.
I saw that the room service on the video, I couldn't see clearly, but I imagine it's really good. Did the food look good for you in person?
The food, you mean?
Yeah. The food in the hotel, yeah.
I asked them whether it's their dinner, but they said that, it's just a kind of casual afternoon dessert snack. And I know that it's a pity that actually the hotel has a kind of Michelin star restaurant, but it's not open. But I think the food quality will be good during the guests staying at the hotel at this special period.
Yeah. Did you get a sense of how full the hotel was? Andy and I were talking, and we figured there probably wouldn't be a lot of guests at the hotel right now, or at least not as many as normal. Did you get a sense of how full the hotel was? Like, was it full, or were there just a small number of people staying there?
I just asked their general manager, and actually there are around 31 guests stay in the hotel, and with the number of staff at 61. So they will live together in the following 4 days. Yes.
I have a kind of weird question for you. You may not know the answer, but with some people worried about the lockdown and having enough supplies, do you think there are many people in Shanghai who have chosen to just go and stay in a hotel with nice room service for the whole lockdown?
Yeah, actually, some of the staff, they told me that some of the guests choose to stay at the hotel. It's because that if they go to the hotel, they do not need to worry about the grocery shopping and prepare their food. So everyone will prepare the food for them, and they just need to sleep and eat, very convenient.
It sounds good to me.
My first thought is, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, of course, I want to. I have cats at home, and so I need to stay home.
No luck.
It doesn't sound like the worst way to go through this for sure.
But I did notice, Ruby, that the pool and the spa are closed down, so that's got to be a bit of a bummer for anyone staying there.
Yeah, you mean the spa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the spa has been closed to prevent any kinds of possible, the spreading of the possible disease.
The pool and spa at my house are also closed on account of them not existing. So.
You don't have a pool and spa. I don't even have a bath.
We will enjoy the spa after the lockdown.
Sure, of course.
So one last question, Ruby. Are you all prepared and do you have all your groceries ready for the 4-day lockdown in Puxi?
Almost.
Almost.
Have prepared.
You still have a few hours, so you go on.
I got plenty of vegetables and meats and some snacks, so that I'm pretty sure that I can have a good time during the lockdown.
Awesome. Again, we're looking forward to seeing you back in the office in a few days' time. Thank you so much, Ruby.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye. All right, you too.
Later. That is so cool because, like you said, I mean, why didn't I think of it? You don't need to worry about making meals, anything. You can just stay in a nice hotel room. But I do have to say, it's not going to be cheap.
Not going to be cheap for sure. Now I don't know what the rates are. If they're up higher than normal. If they were, I wouldn't be too surprised if that were the case right now.
Yep.
Obviously, it's tough on the staff as well if they need to be there during the pandemic. Although they do have beds to sleep in.
They can probably stay in a nice room for the whole time.
But we're seeing both positives and negatives in the situation.
Yes.
Although it probably is best to just stay at home. We don't want to be out and about. At the end of the day, being at home is probably safer than being out in a hotel, marginally so. But, and plus, as much as I say I would like it, I don't know. It is good to be in your own apartment.
Exactly. Now, just quickly cut back to the shot of Shanghai Live. This is 7:52 p.m. on Thursday evening. Shanghai filming towards Pudong. In the distance there, you can see it's a little bit hazy, but those tall buildings, the red and the blue one, that's the Oriental Pearl Tower.
Yeah, you can see the red there. It's hard to see, but the building with the blue at the top in the distance is Shanghai Tower, which is the tallest building in China, and second or third? I think
third. Actually, I looked it up.
Check it out.
The other day you said there's a building in Malaysia.
Yeah, recently topped off.
Yes.
So for the longest time, since it was built, the Shanghai Tower was the second tallest building in the world behind the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Malaysia has recently just finished a tower that's just a little bit taller. They just had to outdo us by a little bit, but that's all right. The Shanghai Tower is a great building. And then in that area, there are lots of other tall buildings. It's the financial hub of the city.
Right, and it is going to be open, if all goes well, from tomorrow morning. It's been shut down under a phased lockdown. Half of the city, Pudong area, has been locked down since March 28.
Yep.
It will hopefully be open again tomorrow morning, but at that point, our side of Shanghai, I'll show you guys the map now. Our side, which is the blue side, will be put into full lockdown for 4 days, which means you won't be able to leave home or go to work unless you have special permission, which is not most of us.
Right. So the official policy, as I understand it, is in Chinese called 足不出户, which means no feet outside the door. And it's a very stringent policy, but that's the policy for the next 4 days, for the past 4 days, for most of the people in Pudong. And then for the people in the blue Puxi area, that's going to be the policy here as well. Fortunately, there are some volunteer workers who will be able to help us with things like taking our trash outside, bringing any deliveries to our doors, and then in many cases even helping to walk the dogs if necessary. So hopefully, I know there are lots of volunteers out there who are doing their best to help and make sure everyone's needs are met, and so we don't have to do as much. We can keep the intermingling to a minimum during this lockdown so that it's most effective.
Yeah, and that way we can get the numbers coming down as quickly as possible. Like I said before, Shanghai's numbers of new cases as reported for yesterday, March 30, have come down slightly from the day before, which is great news, down to 355 symptomatic cases, 5,298 asymptomatic cases. So they're still much too high, but we should see, because of the lag of COVID-19, those numbers coming down, I hope sharply from these two-phase lockdowns that we're seeing now in Shanghai.
Absolutely.
Right now, we're going to chat with a colleague, Fiona, who is, I think, in Pudong under lockdown now. That's right, isn't it?
Is she in Pudong or Puxi?
Let's ask her.
Let's ask.
Fiona, can you hear us?
Hello, Andy, Alex. I mean,
Puxi. Where are you now?
Yeah.
Are you in Pudong or Puxi?
Puxi.
Oh, she's in Puxi.
I'm in
Okay,
Puxi, and I'm in Minhang district. And our compound has got locked down since March the 18th for the grade screening because there were some new cases in my community, as we already got 2 rounds of 48 hours lockdown and a safe antigen testing for trials. And the lockdown ended on Saturday, but on Tuesday, there's someone in my building tested positive, so I started home quarantine yesterday again.
Oh,
Got
no.
it. So despite the fact that you're in Puxi, which has not been under sort of area-wide lockdown yet, but you've been under lockdown because there were some cases in your building?
Yeah, you're right.
So what have you been doing for the last, it's nearly 2 weeks. What have you been doing every day?
And during the past 2 weeks, I was working hard on Shanghai, ordering groceries on the apps and sharing some tips online. I wish it could help. There are over 300 people leave messages to me on the social medias telling their difficulties online grocery shopping. I'm trying my best to reply them for their problems to order or place orders.
So what has been the sort of the most difficult thing? I know you've been in lockdown. What did you say? The 18th. So today would be. You said
18.
So today is day 14, I guess. So I guess I have 2 questions. First is, what are you most looking forward to when you get out? And then, when do you think you might get out? I'm not sure what the situation in your building is. What have you heard so far about when you might be able to be done with the current quarantine?
So I bought them spring onions. I planted them. Everyone wants to get some vegetables, and I think there are enough, but they don't have ways to get them. So they said spring onion now is some cans of Chanel. So I planted them. Look.
So wait. So when did you plant that? How many days of growth is that? When did you plant them? How long has that been growing?
I planted it just yesterday. But
yesterday.
Well, I think it's just keep fresh. But I also plant them in the water. I wish it could growing well, and I will harvest a lot of spring onions, a lot of Chanel's. Wow.
Wow.
And my
It's a great time to take up gardening, I guess, right? Why not?
Awesome.
Good.
Well, Fiona, we wish you the best of luck, because I think you said before you're going to start another whole maybe 2-week lockdown, so it's going to be a long time.
Yeah.
I hope you are ready, and we will see you later on when you're free.
Yeah, I miss making videos with you. I hope to make another one soon.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh my gosh. So she had a case found in her community around the 18th of March. So they went into lockdown 12 plus 2.
She said it was 7 plus 2. It gets jumbled together.
There's all these
sometimes.
different rules.
Yeah, because what happens is there might be one case, or you might be a close contact to a case.
Right.
You might get a 48 hours because there was a contact to a contact, but then they add more and more onto it if there's a case in your building. So sometimes it ends up sort of piling up a little bit. just to make sure that, they got to clear everything out and make sure everything is okay to reopen before they do it. I want to be preemptive.
But she said they found another case recently.
Right.
So the time for the lockdown has to start again. So that is really tough, Fiona. We wish you the best. Right now, we're looking at some shots from around Shanghai that I filmed yesterday.
Right.
I didn't have time today to go and shoot anymore, but this is looking towards Pudong, the skyline in Lujiazui, which is really beautiful.
It definitely is. We could see it a little bit clearer yesterday. It's been a little bit rainy today,
Right.
But the city still looks great. This is the downtown Lujiazui area that we were talking about, the area that's currently under lockdown, but will get out of lockdown, hopefully, if everything goes as planned, 5 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Right, at which time the other half of Shanghai, which is Puxi,
Right.
west of the Huangpu River, the blue area on the map that you can see there, will go into a 4-day lockdown from tomorrow 3 a.m. until the 5th of April at 3 a.m. So we are in the blue area. We are ready. After this broadcast is done, we're heading home. But Alex, did you know that 4 or 5 people from Shanghai Daily are going to be living in the office for the whole time?
I did hear that, and two thoughts. First of all, thank you for them, right?
Yes.
Because that means that we can still publish our newspaper and still update all of our
Shanghai Daily will
sources.
come out every day.
And the second thought is I'm glad that
It's not us.
So actually, we will be broadcasting, hopefully, if everything goes as planned, we will
From
be broadcasting again tomorrow, but we will not be here,
Mm.
obviously, because our office will be locked in, and we won't be sleeping here. We'll luckily be sleeping in our beds. 辛苦 to our colleagues who won't be, excuse me.
Exactly.
But we will be broadcasting tomorrow, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. And we'll be from home, I guess.
I saw one of our big bosses downstairs before in the convenience store, and she said to me, "Do you want to stay in the office too? You can do the broadcast." I was like, I'm gonna go, but yes. Anyway, now we're gonna put on a video that we were meant to play last night, which is to do with kidney dialysis. We had Dr. Lee on the phone, who was talking about if you have any existing conditions. Obviously, kidney dialysis is a very important one that many people need to do to stay alive. That can still take place during the lockdown. So we're going to cut to Dr. Lee now, who's going to tell us about the kidney dialysis process under lockdown. Let's have a look.
那么有关闭的情况，那我们可以看，我们尽量马上就开放。那比如说我们发现有阳性的患者，那赶及时的关闭消杀，那么尽量在半天之内，及时的就把它开放起来，那么保证我们的医院的就诊，尤其是现在急诊我们是不关闭的。到目前为止，我们是保证能够充足的进行这个就诊，尤其是对于危重病患者的就诊，那就一定要考虑到患者，就是说不要耽误他的病情，甚至不要危及他的生命，那保证他的救治。4月1号之后，我们浦西这边要封控了。那么封控了之后，就面临着很多小区都是关闭，几乎的小区都是关闭的。一个呢，我们医院肯定是保证急诊的救护的力量是肯定是充足的，因为我们的医护人员有可能都不回家。那么我们在医院里就是轮替的上班，那保证这个医疗的这个应急的预案也都是比较充分的。另外的话，就是我们所有的预案，比方说对特殊的一些，就像血透的病人、化疗的病人等等，也是各个临床科室全部做好了这个他们诊疗方案的一个调整。在封控期间，也是按时按点的提前做好这个核酸的检测，凭着这个阴性的报告到我们相关的科室进行准点的一个治疗。那么尤其是特殊人群，像血透这种，他一刻也不能停止治疗的这些人群的话，比方说那个疑似病例，或者是说密接的病人，在血透室和其他的区域分开了这个相关的这个隔离的场所，那么能让不同类型的患者能够及时的得到血透的治疗。在之前，我们也是充分发挥了中医的一个抗疫的作用，自己医院研发的这个抗疫方也是在封控之前，能够尽量的在物流能够保障的情况下，及时的发放到这个市民的手中，那么让他在封控在家的时候，也可以喝我们的抗疫方，提高一下免疫力，那么心里也是很踏实的，缓解一下这种紧张的情绪。
Okay, that is really interesting to know. As Dr. Lee said yesterday, if you have any signs of problems, maybe chest pains, shortness of breath, don't hesitate to call 120 and seek help. And if you do need to go to a hospital, they will arrange transportation for you. But you shouldn't leave home yourself and head to a hospital. Do call 120 or 110 as well.
Because the ambulances, we know, are very stretched to the limit right now as well, given the situation. And so you can also call 110 for the police if 120 is taking too long.
Right, and we did have some news to share, which is very unfortunate. Someone in Pudong who was suffering from heart issues passed away yesterday, unfortunately. They actually went and found an ambulance that was parked on the side of the street and asked for a defibrillator. Unfortunately, because that ambulance officer couldn't get into the building to do a check himself, he didn't hand that over. I guess it's a bit dangerous to pass a defibrillator on. I'm not sure what happened there.
I'm not really sure. I can't speak on it because I don't know all the details of the situation, but I do know that it's a very unfortunate situation, and we hope that we wish his family the best wishes to them, and we're sorry to hear about the situation.
Exactly, and the ambulance officer has been suspended from his duties as an investigation is underway. So it is a very unfortunate situation. Hopefully we won't see anything more of the kind soon, but we will share with you some other news from Shine.cn very shortly. But first, because Shanghai is a huge economic hub, not just for China, but for the whole world, we need to know whether or not that economy can still remain running under COVID. So we have on the line Irene. Irene, can you hear us? Irene, are you there?
Hi,
can you hear us?
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
good.
What can you tell us about the situation with Shanghai's, Shanghai being an economic base? Are things still running when it comes to that?
Yeah, I work with a financial news media outlet, and I've been covering the financial market as a manager over the past week to see what's happening to them during the lockdown. Because as you just mentioned, last Sunday, China's financial institution in the Pudong area actually entered the first phase of the lockdown. So we can see there's kind of like a very rare traffic jam happen at around 9:00 p.m. On Sunday. That is because the financial markets like traders, bankers, they're just rushing back to their office to prepare for the market opening this Monday. So they just actually most of them have already stayed and slept at their company for 7 days or just 2 weeks, and they just came back home on Sunday to take some luggage, and then they're rushing back office. So they're now going to spend another 1 or 2 weeks in their office. So it's really very challenging time for them.
Yeah, I did hear about that story. You mentioned that they were rushing back to their offices at midnight before the lockdown, and so that means that they'll be sleeping. They've been sleeping there now for, I guess, 3 nights now. And I'm sorry, I missed that. How much longer do they plan on staying in their offices, locked in there?
I think because some of them actually, for example, live in Puxi, so they cannot went back home this weekend.
Right, yeah.
Entering the lockdown, so they're gonna stay at least at their office for another 5 to 6 days. That is mean they cannot come back to their home after Qingming. That's April the 5th at the earliest. I mean, so yeah.
So one of the main reasons that Shanghai entered a phase lockdown, 1/2 and 1/2, was because of the fact that Shanghai is such an economic powerhouse. So what would you say to anyone who was worried about the economy during this time?
Because the signal is not too good. You're asking about how they're going to deal with the situation, right? What's most worrying to them?
Yeah, do we need to worry about the economic situation during Shanghai's lockdown, or is everything under control?
Yeah, I think that's not much of a concern, because I talked to a lot of bank traders and financial practitioners, because for the past 2 years, their remote trading system or remote working system are actually robust and time tested enough to prepare for such kind of emergency. So at least half the worker or trader are just staying at home. They can trading remotely, and so everything is just going on very smoothly. And for some state-owned banks, some of their traders are just choose to stay at their company, sleep in their company to keep the smooth running of the operations. So we can see the very important thing is the continued operation of the key financial infrastructure providers in China. That is to say, the central depository and clearing companies, Shanghai Stock Exchange. Most of their workers are actually just rushing back to their office on Sunday to keep the smooth operation of the market. So we don't see much of a concern. You can see you can see the Shanghai Stock Composite. I mean, the stock index is actually moving very smoothly over the past week. Yeah,
I have been paying a little bit of attention to that, and I have seen that the markets have been relatively stable. And so, we thank the workers in the financial industry, and we thank you as well for keeping us surprised at everything that's going on.
Thank you so much, Irene. Hopefully we can catch up with you a bit later in the week, but we hope you're ready for the lockdown, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you. Speak soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Wow, so that's cool. If you're worried about the economy, which a lot of people are, as Irene said, and she's a financial reporter there, it's running smoothly. You can see the index is, no major problems. So nothing to worry about there.
Right. I mean, of course, a lockdown is not the most ideal situation, but as long as we can ford the river without any major hiccups, and it seems like we're so far been able to do that, and so it's good.
And that is why we've seen a phased lockdown in Shanghai, which is a new thing for China, and I think a new thing for the world as well. Yep. You would have seen in the past 2 years, whole Chinese cities have been locked down to keep COVID in control. But now that the situation has turned south in Shanghai for the first time, actually, in the 2 years, we are trying a new approach, which is a half and half lockdown. I'll bring up the map to show you. And I think if all goes to plan, we may see this approach being used across China.
But yeah, if other cities around the country sort of run into the same uptick in COVID-19 cases that we've seen here in Shanghai over the last week or two, maybe what we're doing here in Shanghai, if it continues to be successful, hopefully we did see a bit of a downturn in cases today. Hopefully that continues. And then maybe this sort of strategy might be something that we might be able to use in other cities around the country in the future if another surge in COVID cases does occur.
We're crossing our fingers that it doesn't. But if you've just tuned in, you're watching Alex and Andy Live. We are bringing you up to date with the latest information on Shanghai's phased lockdown. Now, the Pudong area, if all goes to plan, is aiming to come out of lockdown, a 4-day lockdown, tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. And tomorrow morning at 3 a.m., the other half of the city, Puxi, will enter lockdown until April the 5th.
April the 5th at 3 a.m. So, again, as we talked about, the Pudong area is a little bit larger. If we can you pull the map one more time? If you can, sorry.
Sure, let's bring the map up.
I know that, of course, if you're a longtime Shanghai resident, this is,
nothing new.
Nothing new at all. But we do have some viewers from other parts of the country and other parts of the world. So we do want to make sure that everyone is fully clear about what's happening here. So the green area is Pudong, which is currently under lockdown. The blue area is Puxi. Now, even though the green area, if you include Chongming Island up there at the top, is a bit larger in area, it actually is much smaller in terms of population. So the majority of the population of Shanghai does live in the Puxi area, the blue area, including us. Right, Andy? Yes? You're a Puxi guy?
Yes, I'm Puxi.
That's right, me too. And so we are not under lockdown. We're in our office right here on the 40th floor in Jing'an district. But we will be under lockdown beginning at 3 a.m. tonight or in the morning.
Right, and I do have some breaking news that has just come in. The Shanghai government has just announced the details of the Pudong lockdown, whether or not it will open as planned tomorrow morning. We are waiting on our crew to translate that information and get it through to us. So we will have that for you in a few minutes. I think a lot of people in Pudong have been anxiously waiting to see if they will be released as planned tomorrow. It has been just announced. We'll get that to you very shortly. But first, let's have a look at another video we had yesterday that didn't quite work out. It is about a nursing home, a situation in the nursing homes in Shanghai. Now, as we know, the older population are quite at risk of COVID due to their age and other pre-existing conditions. So we'll be able to check out now what the situation is for one of the nursing homes in Shanghai. Let's take a look.
今天是第13天了，我们全院在院内的这个员工的话呢，总共有236名。 所有的员工，包括我们的护理人员、行政后勤、物资保障、膳食部门，我们全部都在院里面。各个部门来讲呢，大家的所有的工作都是非常有序的。那么最辛苦的可能是我们膳食部的这个工作人员，因为他们每一天差不多要提供这个我们全院2300多人次的这个就餐，他们的任务呢是非常非常重的。那么至于我们的所有的消杀的物资的保障、消毒的这个所有的这个消毒的用品的这一块呢，我们都做了充足的准备，可以满足当下的这个疫情防控的这个要求。另外呢，从院内的这个消杀的这个管理规定来讲，我们是根据民政部的第2版的这个疫情防控的养老机构疫情防控的指南，以及上海市民政所发布的第3版的这个要求来严格执行。然后区域当中每天2次的这个物品，所有的物品包括老人的口杯，小到老人的口杯啊、筷子啊、用具的消杀，包括区域公共环境的消杀，我们现在每天都是有序的开展。应该说这将近2-3年以来，我们都是这样有序的、有条不紊的在进行。同时的话呢，我们还一直在坚持在做的就是每日对所有助养老人和员工的在院内员工的这个健康监测，每天2次的这个体温的这个监测，那么以备我们有发现问题呢，可以及时的这个处置。封闭期间呢，我们针对院内所有的助养老人，所有的政策都不变，特别是全卧床的不能自理的这些老人，我们要求区域包括房间的护理员都要保证对这个老人能及时的跟家属的连线，最起码每个礼拜要有1次能看得到他自己的亲人，哪怕他不能言语、不能表达，但是要。
Oh, now it turns out we played that video yesterday. So if you were watching yesterday, sorry about that. You've watched it twice, but it is good to see that the situation is under control in the retirement homes. Now, that breaking news I mentioned before, we're going to let you know very shortly. The Shanghai government has announced whether Pudong will open as normal tomorrow morning. So do wait for that.
Yep, we're waiting to get a full translation so we can deliver the message to you in English.
Right.
And we will be awaiting that shortly.
Right, and let's have a quick look again at the live view of Shanghai. This is a very 很有意义的, because we're looking at Puxi in the foreground and Pudong in the background, or background? Far away.
The background, foreground, background.
Foreground, background. So right now you can actually see in this one frame 2 parts of Shanghai in such a unique situation where half is currently locked down, the area to furthest away with the big buildings in the distance there, while the area closest to the camera is currently open. That will switch if all goes according to plan tomorrow morning.
Okay,
let's see.
So yes, so we're sorry.
Let's have a quick look at the Shine website. Now, I want to keep reminding you guys that shine.cn is a very important resource, especially for foreigners in Shanghai, because you can check out a lot of the latest information, especially relating to the COVID situation. So if you can see here, we have the top story is a letter to all residents in Shanghai, and this has actually come from the Shanghai municipal government. So it's an official official letter to everyone living in Shanghai, obviously including foreigners, wishing us luck. It's quite a touching letter, so if you do have a chance, go and check it out.
Of course, stay tuned to shine.cn for all of our stories on our website, as well as our WeChat official platform, and of course our video channel where you can catch up with us. We did have a comment from Vivian Guan saying, well, we also have live streaming during lockdown. That is the plan.
Right.
We plan to do Alex and Andy and Alex, whichever order it's in.
It's alphabetical, so Alex and Andy.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so we do plan on continuing doing the live stream during lockdown.
Right, and we just had a comment from Riza in the WeChat group who has asked, what is the news on the Pudong lockdown? Now, we are still waiting to get that. It hasn't been filed through yet, but that has apparently just been announced. Part of it is as follows. Buildings in Pudong that have positive cases will continue to be locked down for a further 2 weeks.
It says a further 2 weeks starting from March 28th. So let's see, March 28th
is when they went into lockdown.
Is when they went into lockdown.
Right.
So an additional 2 weeks from March 28th. If there is a positive case in that building, the lockdown will extend from 2 weeks from when their lockdown began. So it would be
March 28th.
March 28th up until, well, that would be 3 days to March 31st. right? Fourth day would be March 1st, another 10 days, March. So it'd be April 11th, I guess, would be the final day of the lockdown under that.
You know how many days are in each month and stuff?
Yeah.
Wow, you're good.
It's the knuckles, right? January, February, March, April.
Oh, I'm going to get you to show me that after. Okay. But yeah, if you're watching, we are going to announce ASAP whether Pudong will open as planned tomorrow morning. Everyone is crossing their fingers.
That's right.
I'm going to bring up some footage that I filmed yesterday in Puxi in Shanghai. Now, this is along the Suzhou Creek, which is obviously a very beautiful area. And I live just down the road from there. So really nice area, as you can see. Oh, 我看一下. Right. Sorry, you guys. Sorry, you guys.
Anyway, so we're looking at some shots from Shanghai yesterday, obviously during the day.
Yes.
We had a bit of a rainy day today. I'm hoping, actually, you know what? This is the time of year here in Shanghai where we usually get about the best weather that we're going to get in between the rain. So our April weather is usually either
between
really nice
the muggy.
Yes. Well, you know, as we're going into lockdown starting tonight, I guess I wouldn't mind it if it rained a little bit, you know?
Actually, it is really nice when you're stuck inside if it's raining because you can not, I was going to say, you don't feel guilty about not going out, but we can't go out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right. It doesn't feel like a waste of beautiful weather. What is the weather going to look like here for the next few days? Oh, well,
let's see.
We've got cloudy tomorrow. The sun is going to come out over the weekend.
The sun will come out.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it does look like we might be locked down for a couple of sunny days. But, you know, I just enjoy it through the window, I guess.
Yeah, I don't mind. You can let the sun come in. Now, right now, we're looking at some images I took this morning of free fruit and vegetable boxes that were delivered to residents in my community. I got a knock on the door this morning and I was like, hello? And he said, go downstairs and get your vegetables. I was like, I didn't order any vegetables.
Right.
Like, it's free, go down. So I went down and snapped these pictures. Really, really a nice scene down there of people collecting free vegetables and taking them home. In a minute, you will see what was inside. There was some cauliflower, potatoes, and things like that. A lot of other people received, there's one of the packages somebody received, which is a lot of vegetables. I see some pork there.
Looks healthy.
Looks healthy.
Much better than the food, much healthier than the food that I eat on a regular basis. So if I get a package like that, I'll probably be improving my intake of vitamins and minerals.
Exactly. Now, when I was walking upstairs with some of my neighbors, a lot of them were asking me, you can cook, right? I didn't want to admit that I don't have much of a repertoire when it comes to cooking, but to keep them happy, I said, I'll be fine. Obviously, they can't help.
I cook at a staving off starvation level.
Exactly. And like I said before, if you have some 火锅底料, some hot pot base, you can really chuck anything in there, potato, meat, vegetables, and it is quite delicious.
That's true. You have to have I have a hot pot, do-it-yourself DIY hot pot.
Oh, they actually, I just put mine on the stove.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's just me. So I sit there with a little stool. It's a little bit tragic. Like a friend said this morning, 一个人吃火锅没什么意义. There's nothing behind it. But
I don't know.
For me, it's
nourishes you. Do you have a dianfan ball? Rice cooker?
Yeah, I do, but I haven't used it in like ages.
Yeah. If you don't have it's called a dianfan ball or a rice cooker, you got to get that. That's a staple. Most of you know this. Anyway.
I did buy one and I used it a couple of times and then just stopped because I was going to cook black rice to keep healthy, but there we go.
Ask Uncle Roger about that to get that reference. Anyway.
Okay, we have the news has come in regarding Pudong's lockdown. Now I'm just going to read it as we come. Areas that have a positive case will be labeled as lockdown areas. So they will, as we said before, in Pudong, if you have a case, that will remain locked down for 14 days from the 28th. Oh, no, I've just lost the message.
It's all right. Well, wait, we want to make sure that we're accurate here. We know that a lot of people are waiting, I won't say with bated breath, but are waiting to hear the information about the lockdown that they've been going through over there in Pudong area. Right. So we'll make sure that we've got that right before we give you
share it with you. Right. So right now, I think what we can do is watch a video about a guy who delivers medicine. So we saw before people delivering fruit and vegetables and food. Now we're going to check out a guy who will be spending the lockdown delivering medicine to those in need. And then hopefully when we've finished watching, we'll have him online to chat with. So let's take a look.
来中心志愿者裘小龙，我们今天的任务就是下社区给封闭社区的居民配药。大家好，我是上海宏康医院品牌中心的志愿者张壮。疫情期间，我们负责对封控小区进行配药服务。今天我负责的小区是桃浦镇的增建花园。
大家好，我是上海宏康医院品牌中心的志愿者柳柳。我今天要去泰山敬老院去拿卡进行配送药服务。
大家好，我是上海宏康医院品牌中心的志愿者，我叫小齐。疫情期间，我们为封闭的社区和敬老院进行配送药服务。今天我负责的是朝阳新院和敬老院。那我们现在出发。这里就是我们配药的点，一桃园敬老院。我们现在去拿一下单子。好的。好，谢谢啊。再见啊，杨老师。现在我们来到了朝阳新院，为居民代配居民所需要的药品。
你都不来，我说不来没打招呼肯定来的，我说。
丹参，什么丹参什么？片还是青绿塞嗪片？朝阳新院的配药统计表已经填好，现在我们去医院开药。我们现在回到医院先进行挂号，找医生去开药。还有两个，一个寄虫汀，一个。
这是丁传挺好可以说。
我也近视的。这个你讲。
张医生。
你好。
你好。
好多天又没看见你了。他哪个叫什么名字？
金云地，李信地。
李信地。
刚刚我们去了内科、外科、中医，现在我们在眼科进行开药。我们把开好的单子拿到收费处进行交费。现在我们来到取药窗口排队取药，下午取好的药就送到居民手里。
那我得看一下，我得检查一下。
那个以后我们再来。
好。
现在是中午12点半，我们利用午休时间清算一下药品的金额。今天配药配了80个人，现在把这些药送给居民手里。现在是下午3点钟，我们4位志愿者一共为310位居民配送药服务，一共去了有朝阳新院等养老院8个社区，现在已经圆满结束。
Okay, you guys, that is very good to know. I don't need any medicine delivered, thankfully.
Yes, but of course there are a lot of citizens in the city that do, and so we're thankful for people that are helping to keep that the logistics flowing on that.
Right.
Just to get everybody the medicines and that they need.
Exactly. Now, if you have been waiting for the news about Pudong, whether it will be open again tomorrow as usual, the government has just made an announcement, but it is pretty complicated. So basically, if you have any cases, positive cases, not just in your xiaoqu or your community, but in your whole street.
Yeah, it looks like the sub-district.
The sub-district, then you will need to remain locked down for 2 weeks from the 28th of March. So you'll need to find out from your community management whether that applies to where you are.
Right, meaning that if there are any cases in your sub-district or in your jiedao, as we would say in Chinese, then that might mean that you would need to continue to undergo 7 days of lockdown after that. But again, you need to make sure and check with your local sub-district or your
community
management people to make sure. But I'm sure everybody will be getting a notice by tomorrow, at least tomorrow morning, as to whether or not you are free from lockdown, whether or not you'll need to continue being locked down for more time, and then exactly what the stipulations surrounding that are.
Right, so this
will
is
be different
Pudong
for everybody, right?
Right, so in Pudong,
this is Pudong. Of course,
right.
Puxi, we're going into lockdown at 3 o'clock.
And I have some more news regarding the Pudong situation from tomorrow when the lockdown is lifted. There will be no dine-in in restaurants, only takeout. The supermarkets and grocery stores can open, but they need to have limited capacity. And all indoor non-essential places will remain closed. So this is Pudong. Pudong tomorrow when the area lockdown is lifted. Restaurants will be able to offer takeout. Supermarkets will be open, but only with limited capacity, and all non-essential indoor places will remain closed. Now, here is some more information. Buildings with cases found in Pudong will be 14 days lockdown. And buildings in the same sub-district will need to have 7 days lockdown.
Right. So what it's saying is exactly, if you live in a building where a case is found, that's 14. Can you go back to that? If you're in a building where a case is found, it's 14 additional days. That means if somebody is in your building had a positive case, 14 additional days. If someone in your community, then it's 7 days plus additional 7 days of self-monitoring.
Right.
Now, I want to make sure that we're clear on this. Self-monitoring means that you're allowed to go outside, I think, but it just means that you
they
have
say 尽量不要出门.
Yeah, try to
your
stay
best.
inside, but you're not locked inside. It's not a zubutuhu, no feet outside the apartment situation.
But you should not take public transportation while you are under self-monitoring.
So this self-monitoring is just making sure that no symptoms appear during this time. So
and you'll need to take your temperature twice a day.
Right. So that would be 7 days plus 7. And then one more time, sorry. And then it says buildings in the same sub-district is just 7 days, and that's it. So again, it's a bit complicated. Sometimes complicated problems require complicated solutions. But in any case, if you are a resident of Pudong, just make sure that you keep your ears open in the morning, whenever you wake up in the morning, and just check your messages, see if there are any signs posted, and just ask the people in your community about what the situation is, whether you're out of lockdown, whether you need to continue to remain in lockdown, and if so, for how long that will last.
Right. So again, just to really simplify it, if you're in Pudong, which is anticipated to come out of lockdown tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., that will still happen. You will still be able to leave lockdown at 5 a.m. tomorrow if you have no cases in your community or sub-district. So that means that Pudong is going back to grid management, which is was the case before the lockdown. So you'll need to get in touch with your community management team who will tell you whether that applies to you. So in effect, the Pudong lockdown is ending tomorrow and we switch back to the grid lockdown system.
True. And so and like I said, unless there is a case in your building or in your community,
right,
under which case you will need to remain in lockdown. But again, check with your community managers to see about the specific situation in your community.
Exactly. Let's, before we go, take another quick look at the beautiful view of Shanghai. This is a live view at 8:33 p.m. on Thursday evening here in Shanghai from the 40th floor of Shanghai Daily. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in today and sent in your questions. And we hope you will come back again tomorrow when we will, Alex and I, hopefully come to you live from our separate homes.
Yes.
Are you prepared?
Well, I know that my internet connection isn't quite as good at my house as it is here in the office, but we'll do our best to try and keep it running as smoothly as possible. We will be here for you probably right around the same time.
The same time, 7 p.m. Yep.
And so we hope that you tune in then tomorrow. We thank you for tuning in today.
Yep.
And we hope to have more interesting stories and news to share with you about what's going on in the city tomorrow.
Right, so we wish you the best of luck if you're in Puxi and you're heading into lockdown tomorrow morning. We'll be there with you, and we hope to see you, like Alex said, tomorrow at 7 p.m.
All right.
See you guys.
See you. Bye-bye.